It's Mike and Shawn back with Talking Tickets. We're talking about my Beckett Boondoggle Lotto World Series, live watching and some ticket talk. And there's a Jordan Red debut up for sale at Heritage Auctions. Shawn.
What's up, Mike?
Not much. A lot of action in the Big D, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I was looking forward to talking to you about the World Series and everything and how all that's going.
Well, I'll say we could jump into the Beckett issue, or you want to just go straight into World Series talk?
I think we should go straight into World Series because I have a feeling you have some good stories.
Well, for those who haven't been living under a rock or don't care about baseball, the Rangers are like, they can't lose, as we've all seen. So growing up in DFW as a big Ranger fan, I've had to partake in some of the events. So I went to, been to a few of the home games, which they haven't won, but I went down to the Game 7 in Houston for the ALCS, which was a huge deal. I have a buddy who lived down there, so I was like, oh, I could see my buddy, could go down there. And if you saw the game, they freaking crushed them. Yeah. I went to try to get a ticket at the box office. I haven't given much effort, but if there's a closeout World Series, I will give a lot of effort to try to get one. Mm-hmm. But you get the same old story. It's oh, I'm sorry, we can't print. I went to World Series game 1 and 2, and game 1 was epic. The epic comeback. Yeah. Where they hit the home run in the 9th, and then they came back and hit the home run to win it. And my coworker, I talked to him and go, "Oh, you went to the game, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, we left in the 8th inning." Like,
man,
like, you don't deserve to go to a game if you're going to leave the World Series in the 9th down by 2 runs.
Wow.
And the Rangers are really known for printing tickets. And I didn't try at the box office, but I know at their customer service center, the word is they've always done it. And I went up there and they're like, "No, I'm sorry, sir. We're not printing for the World Series." But basically, this is what they're doing. I kind of pulled it up on my phone. They're doing the whole collectible thing.
Yeah.
Where is it at? I got to pull up a different screen. Hold on a sec. So they're making you go through your phone. And here it is. So I kind of did this from my phone. So you have to go into like, oh, you can go on your phone and you can get a commemorative postseason ticket. So you go into your app, right? If anybody's been to a Ranger game, you pull up your app and then you go to the team page and then this pops up, commemorative postseason ticket. Well, you click on that button and then it goes to commemorative tickets, right? You put your section, row, seat number, the number of tickets you want, your name. And then it has other info like, there's different product type. Like you can get like one on an acrylic or like a background or these different things. And it's $15 a ticket. And then you put your quantity, like I said, you can put your section, row, seat number. And then basically they ship them to you, which is not, it's the half-ass, easy, everybody can do it way, not the way we want to do it. Like the Blackhawks have talked about doing it, where you get your exact section, row, and seat, and you got to be there and all that stuff. So that's the option. Now, if there is a closeout game, like I said, I will pull right. Like if they lose tonight, which is game 5, I plan on going to game 6, and I will do the stupid phone. I lost my phone. And then I do have a backup where I know the guy who works for the company that built the stadium, and he knows a guy in the box office, right? It's the only way you get these tickets nowadays. Like, you gotta know a guy.
That's how all those LeBron tickets got out. That's you have to know an insider now.
You got to know a guy who knows a guy that can get you printed tickets. So I haven't played that card yet.
Okay, so first question: you're a Rangers fan? You want them to win the World Series? Do you want them to lose tonight?
No, I mean, you can't if like the perfect world, you'd be like, yeah, win 6, I'll be there and get a ticket and see it and all, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we've seen enough times where you play that game and they lose game 5. Like, who said they couldn't lose games 6 and 7? They've been terrible at home. Yeah. Except for that basically one, they win the wild card, then that walk-off win. So it's kind of like if you're a Mariners fan, you want them to close it out, right? Just get it over with.
Oh,
Win
yeah.
that
Yeah,
title.
for sure, but I don't know. Man, I'd really wanna be there too. I think I would just bite the bullet and fly out to Arizona and
Yeah, I talked about it before, but I'm just like, you know
yeah,
what?
it's an
Just
expensive
gonna
trip.
have a little watch party and just
Yeah.
watch it at home with some people.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't be as fun to see them clinch on the road anyway because the crowd wouldn't be into it. Part of the
Right,
fun is the
right.
crowd and the excitement and everything.
But that was kind of the cool thing about Houston is, they were blowing them out, and we were sitting behind the visitors' dugout about 25 rows up, and man, it started clearing out in about the 6th or 7th inning, and then
Yeah.
that whole area just filled up with Ranger fans.
Yeah.
So by the time the game was over, it was like 90% Rangers fans behind the dugout, which was cool.
Yeah.
But the game was actually kind of been some boring games. When there's a blowout, you're like, all right, let's just get this game over with so they can win go the World Series.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people are also probably going to be not excited to travel after the whole Game 6 2011 debacle, where they're like, oh my gosh, they saw that horror in person. But I don't think, you never know what'll happen, but it should be a good one tonight.
So if game 6 does happen, I feel like you should go to your backup plan right away.
Right. It'll
Just
be
to say,
immediate. I'll call my buddy who I went to high school with and be like, hey, I know you got printed tickets before. Can you hook it up? And
yeah.
we'll see. Because I haven't seen any on eBay or anything. So I haven't checked the Arizona printouts. After
Yeah.
game 1, I was like, I thought about trying harder, but then I was already halfway home. I was like, man, I didn't even think about getting one because the word is you can't, because it was a pretty epic comeback.
Yeah.
So the game 6, I'll give it my full effort and keep you updated. Did not go to the Mavericks game in San Antonio, but we saw have we talked about that since the Wemby debut?
We haven't. We just talked about anticipating it.
Yeah, so they actually had some tickets pop up
Mhm.
on eBay, and it's basically the Ticketmaster box office. They started out at 1,000 a pop, and now they're down to about 500. And it's
Yeah.
going to take a few years for him to really show how great he could be. So it seems like the shine, I wouldn't say it's come off, but it's not like, oh my God, he's scored 30 in his debut and this is insane and he's going to be amazing from the jump. But there's tickets out there and it's the same old thing. Let me pull it up and show you what's out there. So you got I think the box office with the arena's name is much better. So you have like the $1,000 buy it now, box office, Frostbank Center, and then you have the generic Ticketmaster version, which is, and these have been going for about $500 roughly. They have them best, buy it now, best offer for $1,500. But like I said, you see a few of these, you think there's going to be a lot more out there.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's been sales, and like I said, they initially went for around 1,000, but now they're tracking like here's the last one. A Ticketmaster version went for 464. So that's kind of what you're thinking. In the cooler off
Right.
arena looking one went for 676.
Yeah. So
But still
how has he performed so far? Has
pretty
he been
good. I mean, he's 19 years old, so he's a freak. He'll have his moments, but the Spurs will be bad
yeah.
this year, and we'll just see what happens. But I
Yeah.
mean, there's ways
It'll
of
be a
getting
few
these.
years.
They're out there.
Yeah. I think it'll probably continue to go down a little more before, it kind of levels off.
Right. Some of these people may have bought these tickets and they don't want to hold on to them. They want the money now. Christmas is
Mhm.
coming up and they're like, I want this cash. So you'll see a lot of these hit the market, and then sooner or later they'll dry up, or if somebody bought an ungodly amount, they won't dry up. So it's
Yeah.
all kind of a to be determined on how all this shakes out.
Yeah, getting back to the Rangers, and how they're handling the World Series, I wonder how much of that is Major League Baseball forcing them to do that. If they've
I
always
think
printed
if I remember what that lady said at the customer service, I think she said MLB, something about MLB.
yeah, because they're just making their $15 off of the commemorative and
Right.
not doing it the right way. If they did it the right way where it was, you could only print one per seat, period, and you had to have actually had a ticket, then that's better than nothing. But as it is, if you can print, 10 for one seat, then it's nothing more than just a
Yeah,
physical.
it's just another commodity that you
Yeah.
can print as many as you want. And they didn't even promote it at the game. Like when I saw another random couple ask the same question, and the lady showed them. They're like, "Oh wow, really? We didn't know that."
Yeah.
It's like they still haven't figured out like the best way to do this. And even the ALCS, like I got this in my email. I think I've talked about this before. It's basically redeem your digital ticket collectible. You
Mm.
click on the link, redeem now, and it goes to candy.com, which I guess is like the third party company who deals with this. And it's like, oh, looks like I already redeemed that one. But this one,
Nice.
there's 3 of them they sent me, 3 little links. Let's see if this one works. But you click on it, and then it'll, you get the whole add a memory about the game to live with your ticket. Like, oh, Astros suck. Like we all hate the Astros and around here. It's like and then it's like blah blah blah. You have to answer the little survey questions, and you click view your ticket, and then it gives you a little pop up of taking to your ticket now, which is kind of, I think we've looked at one of these before, but they're it's like a NFT type thing.
Yeah. So what do you do with
So
it
there's your
after that?
digital
Can you
ticket,
trade it
ticket
or sell
details
it?
section. You can sell it like, yeah, for sale. Here's some for sale. $19 sold. Let's see if we got any sales. $10, $12. There's been 6 sales they're showing since October 23rd.
So
So
you,
the
yeah.
digital world.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. It's hard to project how that's going to play out and in the future, whether that will be a actual collectible and people will care about it, or if
Right.
it's just
Yeah, you never know if it's like a World Series title, as digital expands, it may be something people are more interested in, the whole NFTs and all that. I know they've kind of died, but I think there'll always be interest one way or another in that
yeah,
market.
yeah, yeah.
23 Airness, if you get to the box office to print you a ticket, do you have to use that physical ticket to get into the stadium, or does your phone barcode still work? My guess is it would either invalidate your ticket, your barcode ticket, or would be the exact same ticket. And that's, I think, one of the reasons, same barcode, they wouldn't want to do that.
Hmm.
Usually in the past, it would invalidate what you
Yeah,
had.
when I've done it, it's invalidated it, so you have to use the ticket to get in.
And then he says, if you get some random guy to print you a ticket prior to the game and then go home and put it away, and that ticket was never inside the stadium, then that's almost the exact same as a commemorative ticket. I think that kind of gets into the debate where people are like, well, if you get one printed in the stadium, a definition of a ticket is something that you use to enter the venue. And I kind of disagree. I feel like a ticket is a printout with your exact section, row, and seat number that nobody else can get. Once you kind of get
Yeah,
multiples of the same one, I think it's more of a commemorative-y type thing.
I think it's whether the ticket would have allowed you to enter the ballpark or did.
Mhm.
It didn't have to, because obviously there's a lot of books that were printed earlier on that had the PDF that you could also print the PDF and go to the stadium with the PDF, which most people did.
Right.
Those are still valid tickets because you could have used the actual ticket to get in.
Mhm.
But the debate over whether something is a ticket that you could not have used is what Aaroness is saying. Yeah, I agree that I don't really think that's a ticket, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's less collectible, if that makes sense. If it
Right.
is that exact ticket for that seat and whatnot, and it's a one of one. But
Yeah.
it's an ongoing debate for what
The
a ticket.
continual thing that'll pop up on Boogers, Stubbs, the Facebook group, and
Yeah,
people will argue about.
yeah,
VU Mike 03 said, are the Diamondbacks also offering these World Series souvenir tickets or just Rangers? My guess is they are also. It's hard to tell because you know what? You could probably go on your phone if you have the ballpark app. I'm curious if, like, Shawn, you have the ballpark app. I don't know
yeah,
if you want to do it now, but I wonder if you went in there right now and went to the Diamondbacks or the Rangers, if that would pop up where you could just flat out order, you know, any World Series commemorative ticket, even if you didn't have a ticket. My guess is they're all about the money. So they're like, man, if we can print them and get $15,
yeah.
we'll do that all day.
Yeah.
While Shawn is checking that out, let me talk about my Beckett Boondoggle, which I will lead off. This was not Beckett's fault. So basically, I was like, oh, I got all my tickets that I'm going to get. I live in Dallas. I'm going to go run down to Beckett and pick them up. I had like 20 tickets I was going to pick up. And they're ready to go. I go in there to pick them up. And the head guy, actually, Steve, is there. And I go to get him. And he's like, oh, man, I'm here, and he brings them out. And I'm like, all right, great. It's cool to see your grades. I haven't looked at them. And he starts telling me a story about another guy. And the story is the same thing that happened to me. He opens it up and he pulls them out. And I'm like, oh, shit. So he pulls them out, and this is what I see. See if you can take a close look and see what it looks like.
You didn't get a grade on any of them?
Every single one I got was graded as authentic.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, damn it. So he told me another guy did this also, and it did default to where if you went to go get it graded and you didn't click anything, that it would just be authenticated. But I went in there today, and I don't know if they tweaked this or this has always been the case, and I was just a moron and clicked authentication. But now it makes you pick, where I'm pretty sure it didn't make you pick. And if you didn't pick, you were defaulted to authentication, but now you got to pick one. So I don't know if this was because I'm a moron or I just didn't realize it the first time. But yes, it kind of sucks. But I will say, Beckett, let me resubmit them all immediately. Didn't charge me full price, but basically said, well, we got to do the process over again. So we're going to have to charge you, but not full price, which I appreciated. And I walked out the door with no tickets and felt like a moron. So,
well, that exact same thing actually happened to me also when I submitted to Beckett. So it didn't end up that way because Steve reached out to me because he knew that I wanted them graded. So,
right.
He just assumed. And so he asked me, and I said, yeah, I do want them graded. So it didn't happen, but it must have been, it must be somewhat confusing and easy to make that mistake because I made the same mistake. So
I think they did change it because, yeah, when you go to click it now, if you don't click anything, it errors out and says, please make a selection. So Beckett's making some work, and maybe these dumb things won't happen anymore.
How many tickets was it?
It was like about 20 tickets. 20? But, you went from like 2 or 3 months. And you're just like,
yeah.
Oh,
anything good?
Super Bowl I. I think I had a Glory Road ticket. There's some nicer things in there, but there's also like some $50, $100 stuff. But to me, they're all nice and things I probably some I would sell, some I'd like to take to national, things like that. Ears Up says another reason to use PSA only including if you are selling. Maybe true.
PSA has their issues too, so don't rely on them. Man, yeah. So, but
did you get a chance to look at that ballpark app?
I can't find it right now. I'm not real familiar with the ballpark app of where you go.
Yeah,
in the Diamondbacks, and I don't see any option to buy a commemorative. Is it just like
yeah, so maybe not. Some I'd have to play around with and check out, but it seems like, like I said, it's kind of unlimited if you wanted a commemorative ticket.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know. I'll check it out when I have more time.
Did you want to jump into your tickets or talk about the Heritage auction or the Big Daddy Jordan debut coming up?
Let's touch on the Jordan debut.
All right. So Heritage is bringing the Thunder, and I saw this ticket and I was like, oh, wow, I really like a Jordan Red debut. I'm going to put a bid in, I may be able to steal this ticket. And then I look up like a day later, and it's already at 51,600 with 16 days left. See my bid of 12,500. So I'm in it, Shawn. I'm in the running.
You're so, are you out already? Or I guess you don't have to say.
I never say I'm out, but good night. Like
Yeah.
I was thinking when I saw this, I was thinking, well, people are talking about things slowing down, collectibles, cards, tickets. And the last one I think went for around 50. So I was like, well, maybe like 40, 50.
Yeah.
And boom,
Well,
51,600 already.
so there's a couple of things on this. One is that it's actually really nice. I know it's a 2, but there's
Right.
no writing on it, which is really unusual for these, at least on the front. And it's, it presents really well. And a lot of these don't, or they're not as nice. So,
Right. Yeah, the ones I've noticed before either have a really big like fold where this crease is like
yeah,
it's really pronounced, or there's some other major issue. But you look at this and immediately you're like, well, wow, what's wrong with this thing? Like you said, it displays really well. Um, I guess they said there's a slight crease up here on the right if you really look closely, and then the corner basically is frayed.
yeah,
But overall, I mean, eye appeal looks better than a 2. And I mean, do
yeah.
you think our discussions and the rankings have made this more desirable or move more? Or do you think it is just what it is, man? No matter how much we talk about it, people are going to want it.
Yeah, I think that it is what it is. And I think that in general, like the hardcore ticket collectors understand that the red version is the rare and highly desired version. And there's a lot of other versions, obviously, that we've gone through, but yeah, to me, those are just noise. This is it. This if you want a Jordan debut, it's the red, and that's it. But
Man, that's it. I got the another version. She's saying I don't have an it one.
yeah, you don't have an it one. You need an it one, and good news, I have an it one, and I'm gonna trade it to you.
Where is it? Do you have it on you?
I didn't bring it. No, it's
I,
but
well,
I
Sean
should.
Sean texted it to me the other day. What I say? It looked like a rented mule, or it's been beaten up like a rented mule.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's on the table. It's all yours. You can get the good one.
Then I guess let me read. There was a little thing they called direct from the Chicago Stadium box office rather than a Ticketmaster location, and I guess that's wrong, right? Basically, it was a. I guess a guy may have picked it up from the box office, but this is a season ticket holder version.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's hard to know, and I don't know. Maybe Aranis knows more about this one, but I think the PSA calls this the season ticket version, and then the blue ones are the box office. But it's yeah, I don't know for sure. This is definitely the more desired version, though.
Sean texted me. I'm trying to find your text from when you sent me that. You sent me a picture of it, actually. I'll see if I could pull it up. It probably won't display very well, but oh, here it is. I don't know why he had 2 of them. So here's Sean's version.
Didn't I send you the slabbed version?
Well,
That's
yeah, you
slabbed
didn't.
now.
So there's Sean's version. He didn't want to show it off, but when I talked to him, it looks like a beat up Brennan mule because it's got the paper loss, right?
It's got a little
It's
paper
got writing
loss.
on it. It actually looks pretty
Right.
given.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's all yours. Just we could do a trade right now on the show.
Shawn wants to trade that red Jordan debut for my Gehrig greatest man, luckiest man speech, which is the highest graded one.
Well,
If you feel like that's a fair trade,
that's a fair trade. I'll
say
throw in
post something in the
something else.
comments.
I'll throw in something else too. I'll throw in the Jim Abbott debut.
But no, Heritage has quite a few. It's their Big Daddy auction that they do every quarter. So they have some other items. We may touch on those later. There's about a little over 2 weeks left. They got the Gretzky debut, the Blackhawks one, which people consider I think now people consider that his true debut, right? The NHL debut.
I think the top 100 kind of rooted that out, right? This one was higher.
Well, I think we caught a lot of crap for it, and the hockey guys are like, no, it's the Blackhawks one.
Yeah. I think both of them are cool. I would rather have the WHA, but this one's great too.
Other items, a babe bows out. We see a few of these pop up. Hadn't got a bid yet. It's at 10K. They
So
estimated
stop
at
on that one just for
40.
a second. Estimate 40,000.
Right, and then they estimated the Jordan at 10,000 and up. Like what?
Yeah. See, this is a kind of a topic. I don't know if we touched on this before, but I feel like sometimes auction houses use the estimate to try and either gain bids that wouldn't have already happened or drive more interest in something by putting the estimate really low.
Right,
I
like
mean,
they should have flipped the babe and the Jordan
yeah,
estimate.
maybe it was just an error, but 40,000. I mean, the Babe Bows Out stub, I think I don't even think it's a $10,000 ticket where that's their starting bid. It doesn't have any bids yet, does it? I
No,
don't think that it's worth 10,000 unless I don't know why they would do that unless the owner of it insisted on that as sort of a,
right.
reserve or something. But that's 10,000 is ridiculous for that ticket. But I don't know.
You got a really nice Jordan, LeBron full debut. That's a 7. PSA 7 full. Kind of curious to see where that goes. Like you don't really see these hit the market. I think people kind of are hoarding them
Yeah.
because they feel they're undervalued and
Yeah, there's lots of them out there, but well, the fulls are a lot more scarce than the
right.
stubs, but still, that's a nice one.
Yeah, it's very
That's a good
nice.
bid on that one. We get to see everything
Uh,
that you're going for.
yeah, right. You can see my bids, so you can see kind of what I kind of like. Usually, what I do if I see things I'm remotely interested in, like this one, I know I'm not going to win this, but I
Yeah,
want to keep an eye on it, so I put a bid in on it and
yeah,
then see what happens.
yeah. I do the same because you never know.
Other items, you got another bird debut. These have been popping up a lot more.
Yeah,
Um, another basically the Black Power salute, which is in Goldin, which one sold on Goldin, and people thought it went for less than what it should have. Went for
yeah. So
2,600, which is a nicer version.
in the
So that one of those just sold.
so this is a nicer version, and the one on Heritage, the opening bid said 3,000. Is that right?
Let me check. Opening bid 3,000, no bids yet,
Yeah, I
and it's
don't.
like big old rip on it.
Yeah, I wonder if is there some difference between the two that we don't know about, or because I know that Justin and them were saying that it should have gone for a lot higher, and maybe the market on it is just cooled.
I disagreed,
You don't think it
but
should have gone for more?
I didn't think it was a $10,000 ticket, but
Yeah,
I thought
I
like
don't think so either,
sub
but I'm not
five.
familiar with the market for that one.
You got Rose debut, kind of beat up Ruth, man. You see these pop up a lot, but they've really, when they pop up, people buy them.
Mhm.
It's just, it's an awesome ticket. A full game sixer, Jordan. This is a cool ticket. I put a bid on this. It's got a little writing on the back though. Another Brady debut. These have really cooled off. What do you think about Brady? Like long term, like he is the greatest of all time, but man, card wise, ticket wise, his stuff is just cooled off like crazy.
Yeah, I think that we talked about that maybe a year ago when Brady was at his peak. That's it. It's not going to unless he somehow becomes a celebrity after the fact and his celebrity is bigger than him as a player, which is really hard to do. I don't even think Jordan is maybe Jordan's the only example of that. But especially in football, it seems like stars fade away fast.
Right.
Like Peyton Manning. Remember how
Mhm.
huge he was when he won that Super Bowl with the Broncos, and Brett Favre and even John Elway. Those they just kind of fade away, and the interest in them kind of goes down significantly after their career is over.
I feel
I don't
like
know.
if you talk to a young person about Joe Montana, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, he was really good." Not
Yeah,
like when he retired, "Oh, he's the greatest,
yeah,
4 Super Bowls," and just
right, right.
now he's
So
just another really good quarterback, I feel like they would think.
absolutely, and you have to be our age to appreciate Joe Montana. And if you're not, then yeah, he's just another great quarterback that played before your time. So
Right.
I don't know.
One of my favorites, of course, the full Bledsoe Brady. WrestleMania 1 stub.
So what's it? I'm surprised to not see a bid from you on that one.
I have the full, so I kind of stay away from
Oh
this
yeah,
thing.
you just got
That's right.
you're already good.
Jordan Championship. These have been popping up. I put a little bit on that. Just keep an eye on it. I think I like Jordan Championship tickets just because it's Michael freaking Jordan.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff. Shawn, you can get a Ichiro Ticketmaster autoed.
Yeah, the estimate on that,
6.
6,000. This is an era where most tickets were full because they were scanning. So you see the fulls, and then you get a box or a Ticketmaster stub that has so much writing on it that you can't even see the ticket. And all of a sudden it's worth $6,000. I don't know. Ichiro autographs are pretty highly desired because of the global interest, but
Right.
I don't know if it makes it a $6,000 ticket. I would guess more like
Yeah. A Joe Namath auto debut. I know he did a signing the other day or about a few months back. I'm curious how many autoed tickets of his will eventually start popping. He charges a lot. I think it was like $2 or $3 grand for certain items. I'm sure this was one of them where they charge top dollar.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing now. If you can get if it's worth getting some things autographed because these guys charge so damn much.
Yeah.
Cool bow full debut. I think there are a couple of these on eBay. This might have been one of those ones that were on eBay. Somebody just bought and trying to flip, but it's a cool ticket. Bow, baseball, and football. I don't know which one I'd rather have, but it's cool if you're a bow collector, no doubt. But yeah, cool stuff. Name it Super Bowl III, Ice Bowl, the little writing on the back. Some cool stuff. Goldin, we talked about their auctions. They had some big boy sales. This Griffey debut actually went for $6,700, which I think that surprised you.
That's good. I think it's right in line with where it should be, but solid.
Right. Yeah, so that was for a little stub.
That was
it looks beat
okay.
up, right?
So that's a Beckett sale, and for those who wonder what the value difference between Beckett and PSA is, I think that's pretty strong. I can't imagine that a PSA version of this would have gone for more.
Right, and I almost guarantee you, if this was graded at PSA, it would not have been a 5.
Yeah, they have a different grading scale. So I mean, I don't take that into consideration. I think it probably would have been more like a 2 as a PSA, but that's whatever.
So know that when you're getting things graded, and we talked about this one, the Jeter debut, 21,000. Like that's mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's still some strength in the market, I guess.
And I think that's what people have talked about. Like, yes, things have slowed down, but if you have stuff that's rare and unique and desirable, like, man, you're still seeing crazy sales.
Yeah.
Or really high sales.
I think what has really slowed down is the tickets that you see a lot of. I wouldn't call them common because there's no common tickets, but the ones that you see a lot of, they've kind of slowed down because a lot of auctions and people are getting what they want and then kind of getting out of that. So when one pops up that you just never see, that has a market, that has is desired, then you still see the really strong prices on.
I know in Boogers that was kind of a topic, like, have ticket sales slowed down? I had put quite a few things on eBay, and I feel like I have noticed, like what you said, the more ones that are more commonly seen have slowed down. And I even kind of did this little test. I like to go on 130 Point. You ever go on this site? You can tell you the sales, the best offer price that, what was it? How much it was accepted for, like this one, like the 1972 Olympic basketball, which actually one I won, but I don't know if I wanted to pay that much. Sale price was 25,000. You go on eBay, you won't know, but if you come on 130point.com, it's like, oh, it sold for 6,500. Well, I went and looked, and I was like, okay, how many of these sales in the top 60 were from September? How many from August? And how many from October? And it was pretty interesting. In August, out of the top 60-ish, there were 28 from August, 19 from September and only 13 from October. So it's dropped every month. So
Yeah.
that may be like, well, it kind of maybe shows you that some of these tickets that, goes all the way down to roughly 2,500. So you see in like more larger purchases the further back you go. So it's kind of interesting to see that. So it's like, well, maybe there is something to the
Well,
slowdown.
so I was talking to somebody about this a little bit, and it seems like last year around the same time, the same thing happened. The ticket market was a little sluggish. I don't know if you remember it, but I theorize, or at least one possible reason for that is that you come off all of the auctions that were set up for the national.
Mhm.
Everybody aligns their auctions so that they can display stuff at the national, and then those auctions finish in August. And then after August, it's just kind of a lull because there's no real big auctions going on. And then you go into early holidays, and that's kind of where it kicks up again. That's kind of what I observed last year. I don't know, there's no science behind that, just just observation.
Well, I think
But
big picture, I feel like the economy is definitely is people don't have as much money flush. They're not money's more expensive. It's not as cheap. You're just not getting free money. Promotions aren't being had as much. Inflation,
yeah,
student debt payments have restarted. There's a lot of
it's
things,
like
and they're trying to slow down the economy, and
the
this would be an effect of collectibles for sure.
yeah. Well, and apparently people who are spending money are spending on experiences rather than um, commodities.
Right.
That's kind of coming off COVID and going out and doing stuff instead of collecting stuff. Seems like that's been a theme that you hear about from economists too.
Right, and then when, the speculators, the vast majority of them exit the building where, that's a chunk of potential buyers that are no longer
Yeah,
purchasing.
but good for collectors because
Right,
prices come down, makes it more acquirable.
except for the red Jordan debut.
No, you well, one's on the table, one's available to you.
Maybe I'll get desperate, make that move.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping that this one just goes for like 150 or something, and then you feel like you have to make a move.
So I know I had a few pickups, but you had a pickup, an item you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, and it's got a little bit of a story behind it. I'll set up the story first, and it's a Mariner story, so everybody's gonna love this. But
I don't believe
the
that.
so when Ichiro was a rookie in 2001, he came. He's the first position player in the U.S., so there wasn't a lot of people didn't really know exactly what to expect from him. So early in spring training, there's this famous story. If you're a Mariners fan, you know the story. If you're a Ichiro follower, you know the story. Early in spring training, he would always hit the ball the other way and just kind of soft ground balls, soft line drives the other way. And a lot of people were kind of talking about whether he was overmatched by major league pitching and he wouldn't be able to handle it. So at some point early in spring training, Lou Piniella goes to Ichiro through the interpreter and asks him if he can pull the ball, if he can hit it for power, like, turn on ball. And Ichiro explains to Lou Piniella that in spring training, he likes to start off hitting the ball the other way. Then middle of spring training, he hits it up the middle. And then later in spring training, he starts pulling the ball and hitting it for power. And Piniella says, well, can you give us just a sample? Can you give us just an idea of what you can do? And so how the story goes is that Ichiro goes out next game, hits a long home run onto the berm in right field, comes back in the dugout, goes up to Piniella and says something like, was that good enough for you, Skip? And then Piniella says, okay, now you can do whatever you want. But it turns out, in doing the research on this, it turns out that story's not true. And this is a really well-known story. And if you Google it, you'll find like even Lou Piniella telling the story that way, because it turns out that he didn't hit a home run in that game. And so I found the box score from that game. And, the little story, it says manager Lou Piniella said he spoke with Ichiro on Sunday morning about pulling the ball more to right field. And then, he did, and he pulled the ball every time, went 3 for 4. So still a great story because he did what, he was able to, You know, the story is still true, except for he didn't hit a home run. And even when Lou Piniella tells that story, he says that he hit a home run, but he didn't. So, and I know this because I found this box score, and then the first home run that he actually hit wasn't until later in spring training, like on the 20th. So by that time, he was already well established as a major league hitter, and there's no story about him needing to pull the ball or anything like that. This was earlier in spring training. So I found this because I was able to find 2 tickets to that game when Piniella asked Ichiro to pull the ball, and he did. Goes 3 for 4. So this is March 11th, 2001, spring training, and it's such a well-known story. And to find 2 tickets to it, I just thought that was a really cool find for Ichiro fans or Mariner fans. So
Very nice.
Is that something you've ever heard, that story?
You know, I feel like I've heard the story about him being overmatched by pitching his rookie year, and then he turned it on. You know, I didn't know any of the details about, you know, how that all came about. But it's kind of funny how stories, you know, you hear them and then, real life, that really wasn't what happened.
Right. Yeah, like it happens in sports all the time when as time goes on, the story kind of gets better.
Right, like the Pee Wee Robinson, Pee Wee Reese, Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
Pee Wee Reese?
Yeah, I think so.
Where he put his arm around them, and they're like, yeah, that never happened, but it makes a great story.
Right. And same with the Ruth called shot. I mean, one of the classics that Ruth didn't really call his shot, or at least he didn't as dramatically as all the photos in the video.
Right, where he's
just
pointing his finger. And
so this is just one more of those, the in Ichiro lore that didn't actually happen, but it's kind of a cool story.
Well, you need to get a Ichiro Lou Piniella dual auto.
Yeah, I guess that's probably a good idea. But probably.
Well, I have a few. Do you have any more pickups?
I had a couple more. Yeah, they're small ones because I made a small trade and I acquired. This one is the game, the Dodgers game where they retired number 42, and Campanella and Koufax numbers also.
God, so this is freaking monster retirement ceremony.
Yeah, no kidding. And then I also got this in the same trade. This is a full of the game where Fernando Tatis Sr. hit
that's a cool
grand slams in one inning. Yeah. Only
time.
Remember
one sold on, is that the one? Or if that's one that sold on Goldin, one of the auction houses for like 1,000 or plus.
I don't know. But I hadn't seen it before, a full version of it. I've seen stubs numerous times, but I didn't know. I didn't catch it in any auction. But it was a
record that will never be broken.
Yeah, definitely never be broken. Man.
What did you would you like to share what you gave up to get those?
Yeah, I had one of the Magic the baby hook, Magic baby hook.
Oh, okay.
And it was a raw. And I never, as you know, I've really shifted towards baseball tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So I hadn't even gotten that one slabbed. It was just sitting in my need to get slabbed section. So I thought, I don't really care about this, and found somebody who wanted it and made a trade. So
yeah, it seems like a fair. I think it's a good trade.
Yeah.
Fair trade.
I think it was fair. I was happy with it.
I bought some random things. This is a funny one. This is like one of my favorite NFL games. And this was on eBay for a while. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put a $200 offer in and buy this. But it came with the plaque, and I didn't know, with the ticket itself. So it's the Bills comeback. But it's a full ticket, and Frank Reich signed it. So I was like, man, this thing's $200. I'll take this all day, right?
That's not a bad deal. Yeah.
No.
I think I have a stub, and it's in terrible condition, and I paid probably close to $200 for it back before a lot of them came out.
So the only question is, though, I took the glass off, and I tried to pull the ticket off, but it's like hardcore, like old school tape glued down or something on it. So I'm like, well, I mean, I guess I'll just leave it in here, right? I'm not...
Yeah. Nice back.
Yeah, look at this. You can hang this on your wall. It's beautiful.
So you can't get the ticket out? Is it taped?
You can, but it would have to be. I would want you to get it out, then try to take it off. Because when you pull it off, the whole ticket starts to bend. So it's
Mm.
like, I mean, it is insanely stuck to it.
What kind of adhesive is it?
I think it's like a tape. It may be like an old duct tape or something weird like that. It's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
been sitting in there for years.
So if you could get it off without damaging it, then you could remove the tape.
Right. I think I'd have to like get some kind of scissors and cut
Yeah,
the tape, and then you would have to go to
or
town
just
to
like
it.
a straight
But
edge.
come on, you gonna break up this?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. You leave that alone. That's that's
It's
great.
like, I gotta hang that on my wall. I wish I was a huge Bills fan. I'd freaking
Yeah.
hang it over my bed.
That's a classic game. I mean, a football fan has to appreciate it no matter
Yeah,
what.
no doubt. I got these at the National, and this one I definitely overpaid for, but it's a Drexler debut. But then, I think I may have shown this. And that's one thing I've learned at the National is, there's so much money flying around there. And then you want to buy things, you want to sell things, and it's almost like, okay, like think of how much you really want to spend, really look at the ticket. Because there are a few items like, yeah, I overpaid for that. But then I got some good deals. But that was kind of like one of my takeaways. But then I saw that there's an auto show in Houston, and they do this like every 2 years. It's through Fitterman, but I think he just has these guys come in, and Drexler's signing. So I'm like, man, am I going to crack this and go through that and then freaking send it to Fitterman and he'll get it and then be like, sorry, we're not grading tickets. I could definitely see that even though they didn't say that. So trying to figure that all out. That fun.
What's the cost for a
I don't know. Yeah, I bet it'd only be like $100-$200. He did it like 2 or 3 years ago. They bring him and Olajuwon in.
yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, maybe, maybe not. And of course, after I send it in, they come out with that whole wanting to. And Fitterman actually contacted me and like, hey, this is for sale. He didn't like the price, so we'll see.
On the Drexler?
The other one, I got this graded. That was kind of a questionable one. It's like, oh, is this really going to grade? It's a Ovechkin debut, like a box officey full version. It's got like the cool little logos on top. So that was neat.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Not my thing, but I'm a hockey guy and I got it at the National. So I was like, well, maybe kind of working in a trade
Was that something that somebody sold to you at the booth?
Yeah, that was when a guy came up and was like, basically, this is somebody's and I want to get rid of it. I don't know what it's worth. How much? What will you give me? And I could have offered him like $200 and he'd be like, give me 300,
Yeah.
But it was it was a good deal. It's something that I was like, oh yeah, I got to buy this.
Yeah.
The guy who sold me the Drexler knew he was a smarter one and he worked it. And I was like, well, caught me at a good moment. And I'd probably take a loss on that, but can't win them all.
Yeah.
Then I got this one. Let me see. Yeah, I really like this one. So I bought this like on eBay a while back, and then I got it graded. I got it autoed. I may have shown this before, and it came back a 410.
Yeah.
It's a nice version.
It is nice. Yeah.
And I really like the placement. A lot of people like to get it in the white, but I think it looks better on the top because it doesn't interfere with the logo and it looks cleaner. So
yeah, that's a really good grade for that ticket. Those are hard to find.
Yeah,
shape.
So I'm like, damn. And I have a full autoed. So this is one I'd like to trade or take to the National and see because if we end up doing a trade night or something like that, or I got the table, it would be cool to put it out there. This, I don't know if I'll take this, but I have to think about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, Cleveland's not that far from Buffalo, right?
Oh, yeah. Good point. Hey, all right. I definitely have to take that out there.
Yeah.
That's all the pickups. I think I showed these last week, the Glory Road tickets. I can't remember. They're the semifinal, the final game, and like 2 random games.
Did you get those graded? Or
yeah, I got those graded separately in the package, and those are the ones that actually weren't authentic. I can't remember if I showed these, but if not, I'll show it again. It's it turned out to be a 5, and that's another thing. Like I don't think PSA would have given it a 5 just because of that, but Beckett, the edge. the tear.
Yeah.
Beckett's like, well, that's kind of how tickets are.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think a tear should play a role in the grade, in my opinion.
But yeah, I mean, those are my grades. So I got to get those 20 or so back. But yeah, it's kind of the whole.
So what's the timeline on the 20 that you had
I
to
think it's
restate?
another 2 months, 2 or 3,
Something that
probably
long?
2 months would be my guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a few that I need to submit now too.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the whole shebang with the World Series and tickets. And there's a Dallas show this weekend. I don't think I'm setting up. There's just too much going on. There's a show in Houston in February, the week before the Super Bowl I've gone to. I may go out to. That's always been kind of an interesting one. I mean, I went out there. Yeah, to set up and see some friends, and it's a decent sized show. I remember I went out there like 5 years ago, and a guy had a big box of ticket stubs. He's like, "How much for it?" And he's like, "Oh, $500." At the time, I'm like, I'm not giving you $500 for a random box of who knows what. Now I'm thinking like maybe I should have given him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Rangers, like, do you see a lot of Rangers tickets? The older ones from
No,
the
you really
90s?
don't. I think they're, some teams are really rare to find, and I think old Rangers. You
Yeah,
see the
Rangers.
'90s ones, but when you get like pre-90, pre-80, especially, like forget about it, man. Those
Yeah.
things, I think, are
Yeah.
super rare.
Yeah, because I know of some people who are looking for specific Rangers tickets, and really, really, really tough to find because for whatever reason, I don't know. Some cities are easier to find than others.
Yeah, it is interesting how some fans just certain cities kept their tickets and others just
Yeah,
adios, muchacho.
part of it's the kind of attendance, I guess, because the Rangers weren't drawing huge, but
No,
also just the aesthetic of the ticket, and the ones that look nicer are more likely to be kept or saved, but the basic ones kind of just got thrown away because obviously
right.
they were for.
Yeah, few and far between.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think we had anything else. Did you have anything else you wanted to share?
That's it for me. Yeah.
All right. Well, tonight, see the Rangers do it.
Are you I have a feeling that you're secretly rooting for the Diamondbacks.
No.
So you already have tickets in hand
Yeah, I
for
already have tickets for game 6 and 7.
and
if
where
they
are you
go.
sitting?
It'll be left field, like that second deck in left field, that overhang.
Okay.
So if they hit the walk-off game winner home run in game 6, I'm gonna have my glove ready to. I never take my glove to the game, but if I go to a clincher and I'm sitting in left field, I think I'll bring my glove just for that 0.00001% chance that something amazing would happen. I'll reach up, snag it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was right field, but that Corey Seager home run was way up there.
Yeah, when you hit setting that left deck, you got to crush it to hit
Yeah.
it up there like a 420 where we sit. But it can be done. Like a guy hit the the frontage of the deck, the game we went to. So if you get it up there a little higher, but with Garcia out, I don't know if anybody could do it from their team. Maybe one guy or two, because Seager would be the one who he can just crush the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll be watching, and but I kind of hope it goes to game 6 just so that you can go.
Go and give it a whirl and see what happens.
I'll be rooting for the Diamondbacks tonight just for you.
Yeah, you don't want to lose one, then you never know what can happen.
That's true. So, all right, cool.
All right. Watch the game tonight, guys who are still on. Thanks for watching, and either be back next week or the week after.
Yeah. All right. See ya.
All right. We'll see you then.